Well, indeed, our church has been going through a transition. We are moving forward from Pastor Kathy's spiritual leadership to new pastor, Pastor Dave Samelson, starting in July. And I know that last Sunday we watched their dialogue video conversation and a sustained connection. Today we have another part 2. So here's the one. Let's take a look together.
Kathi, what is it that tugs at the heart of this congregation?
Oh, such a good question, Dave. You know, from the very beginning of my time here, I could see that this is a congregation that, unlike many people in the world, it's a group of people who run toward need. When there's a need in the world or in the community that needs to be filled, this congregation doesn't turn away from it, it runs toward it. And so often our work as leaders of the church has been to articulate that need, to make it alive, come alive in some way, because there are always people who want to help. And that's one of the great gifts of this congregation, I think, their generosity and just their, not only generosity financially, but generosity of spirit and heart. The other thing I would say about this congregation is that these, by and large, not 100%, but mostly, these are people who have succeeded in their lives by all the values and measures of Silicon Valley, and still they are people who want something else for themselves and for their families. That it's not just those external signs of success that they're looking for an alternative set of values that will be their deepest convictions and that will rule in their lives and build the character of their families. And I've loved that about them. And that too then stretches their compassion in different ways. And then finally, I would say what tugs at their heart is a desire to be faithful. Over the 5 years that I've had here with them, I have seen them again and again stretch their faith into places they have never been before. And I have really treasured that courage really on their part and their wanting to take on the heart of God for the world. Yeah. So when you think about those different forms of compassion, what does that make you think about when a congregation becomes its full self and the best it can be?
So let me tell you a little bit about how I understand compassion working. I see compassion being connected with another word called curiosity. And that curiosity becomes sort of the catalyst that allows it to empower things. And like most things, there's a story behind that. And story about a guy named Ken Meese. And so in 2006, I was appointed to Eureka First. And in Eureka First, they had a little tiny ministerial association. It was a brown bag lunch once a month. We just came together to build community, to friendship. And one of the persons that came, there would only be 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. I mean, it was really small, so pretty intimate. And one of the persons that came was named Ken Meese, and he was the chaplain at St. Joseph Hospital, the only hospital in town, been there for many years. And there'd be sometimes just Ken and I or a few other people. And over the first 6 months, I noticed something, that when Ken was there, I always felt good at the end. And when Ken wasn't there, I didn't feel quite as good. And then I noticed that it wasn't just me, that pretty much everybody that was there when Ken was there felt better, and when Ken wasn't there, they didn't feel quite as good. And it kind of sparked my curiosity. What is this? What is this? And so I kind of focused in, what does Ken do? Ken might have been the most compassionate, creative person I've ever known in my life. So when you talk to Ken, you started to share something, it was like he was searching for something that excited him in you. And he always found something in everybody he met. He always found something. And then when he found it, he would then it was like a gem that he had found that he wanted to sort of lift up so he could see it more clearly. But the funny thing was you saw it. As he lifted it up, you saw it. And it was incredible. And it wasn't like a trick. It was just who he was. That's the way he worked. Fortunately, Ken had a really bad heart, and in 2012, at the age of 63, he had a fatal heart attack. I mean, I was devastated. And his funeral was at the Presbyterian Church because in addition to being the chaplain, he's also an ordained Presbyterian minister. So I knew there'd be a lot of people there because I imagined all the patients that had experienced what I experienced. And there were lots and lots of patients. But what surprised me, the Presbyterian Church that day was just packed. But it was also filled not only with patients, but big-wig Presbyterian mucky-mucks from all over the country. Little did I know that Ken, this chaplain in little old Eureka, was a legendary theologian in the Presbyterian world. And the person that gave the eulogy had known him for 35 years, and he was one of their big-known theologians. He said, Ken operated as a theologian up here, and the rest of us operate down. I've never known anybody that was more powerful, more insightful than Ken. He said Ken had all sorts of aspects of theology he had no interest in, but incarnation, God showing up in life, in people, he was passionate about that and finding that and seeing that. And then he said this. He said, I want to ask you a question, talking to all of us there. He said, those of you that talk with Ken, when Ken talked with you and you talked with Ken, didn't he make you feel like you were the smartest person in the world? When I heard that, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I never imagined that someone could nail it, so that's exactly the way I felt. When I talked with Ken, I felt like I was the smartest person in the world, the most insightful person in the world, the most blessed person in the world. He found that in me. And I looked around the room, everybody was nodding. They all experienced that. Well, I'll never achieve that level of Ken Meese, but he's my hero. And so when I think about compassion, I think about compassion mixed with curiosity. I think of Ken Meese, and that's what I try to do. And that's the way I try to be.
Wow. Thank you.